7 to 10 of the Land of Wise series, fall series of Conscious Coffee, where I'm discussing intimate truths about women with real stories from my past. Why did I do the things that I did? And what did I learn from them? The point of this series of 10 parts is to educate men on women, educate women on women, and to let you know that you're not alone, okay? You're not alone. The land of relationship, the land of our internal being, is definitely mysterious and challenging, and in today's world, relationships harder than what it ever was in our past history. So, here's some truths. Today we are discussing why I often gave a false yes. Why didn't I say no? And recently I've been doing a lot of questions, inquiry questions with my network, with my community here on Facebook and on YouTube, in my newsletters, all over the place. And what I keep hearing over and over again from people is, well, why don't you just state the truth? Just tell the truth. Be honest. Just say your authentic yes or no. And anybody who has followed me through the last probably 6 or 7 years has been probably privy to my campaign called the Fuck Yes Lifestyle. And that means you're either a fuck yes to it or you're a fuck no to it. Well, I got to the fuck yes and fuck no idea because of the way I used to be. And I started to realize this socialization coping mechanism that the feminine for sure has, but we all have. And what I see rising up right now is that the masculine is being taught to not give their authentic yes or their authentic no. So this particular episode is vitally important to everybody, because yes, an inauthentic yes is nothing more than a coping mechanism to be kind. Did you get that? Our inauthentic yes is nothing more than a socialized coping mechanism to be kind. And who doesn't want to be kind? The majority of people want to be kind. We want to be nice. We want to be good. And the way we define this is through not hurting somebody else's feelings. Well, for us women, number one, typically we play the game of life. We play the game of relationship, not just our intimate relationship, our friendships, our relationships with our colleagues, relationships with strangers that we don't even know, just passerbys. And guess what the feminine wants to do? We want to be kind. Whereas men at their core play to win. So there's a difference here. So let's get into this just a little bit. So socialized coping mechanism of saying yes. Why does the feminine do it? Well, it's very simple. Because we want to be kind, right? We want to be nice. We don't want to hurt your feelings. We're taking responsibility for your emotions. We're taking responsibility for the fact that we feel some way that, we don't want to hurt you. We don't want you to get mad at us. We don't want to be perceived a certain way. And when we bring this into our intimate relationship, it really can be destructive, not only to the woman, but to the relationship. And it can cause a lot of miscommunication in the relationship and make the partner go, but you said yes. And I hear over and over again working with couples, all I want is her authentic yes. I don't want her to do anything that she doesn't want to do. Well, women aren't programmed for this. Now, despite what some people might say, they might say, hey, this is just a feminine trait, and to a degree it is. But for the most part, we women have been raised this way. We've been raised to be nice. We've been raised to be kind. We've been raised to not really use our authentic words in different ways. And we are definitely coming out of this raising style of the feminine more and more. But like I said at the beginning, we're now doing this to the masculine. Now we've got a lot of men that are uncertain about saying yes or saying no. Why is it so important to say yes? Why do you need to be a fuck yes or a fuck no to something? Well, number one key factor is it definitely lowers the drama rate, right? You can trust yourself. It sets healthy boundaries, something that a lot of us just don't understand out there in the world, the importance of boundaries. But knowing your yes and knowing your no gives you a space to trust yourself in boundary setting, in communication, in knowing what you want, what direction you want. You're a lot less likely to make a wrong turn if you know what your yes and your no is. Number two, being able to make a true statement of yes or no. Yes, that excites me. Yes, that turns me on. Yes, I want to do this. No, I don't want to go on a date with you. No, I don't want sex tonight. Yes, I do want connection. Yes, I do want to move there. No, I'm not into that. No, I don't even want you to communicate with me. Stop bugging me, right? These statements and so many more, what they do is they breed confidence. And I can tell you, in my 20s, and I tell this story all the time, like in my 20s, I was that person that I was the wallflower, and I walked pigeon-toed, and I kind of slumped a little bit, even though I had done modeling and stuff, and I had learned good posture and all that. I still, if you saw me on the street, just walking down the street, I walked in a very insecure fashion. I couldn't make eye contact. I did speech in high school. I did lots of different things like that, which definitely has helped me in the course of time. But at that point, having a conversation with a random stranger, just going and doing something all by myself, I was terrified of the world. Absolutely terrified of the world. And I took this into my late 20s, where I was still terrified. Mom of 4 or 5 kids, been around places, done all this kind of stuff, held careers, and I was still terrified of the world, and I could not state an authentic yes or no. I had very low confidence, low self-esteem. And what did that do? When we have low confidence, when we have low self-esteem, unfortunately, we are basically just waving a red flag out there saying, come attack me. I don't have the confidence to stand up to you. I can be bullied easy. I will say yes, even though I mean no. You can do with me as you so choose. Well, take that into marriage, into dating, into long-term relationship, of which I experienced all of those in the midst of low confidence. And I can tell you that looking back, there is a piece of me that says, well, I'm grateful that I went through all that. I'm grateful because I needed that hard of a smack from God universe through relationship to really identify who I was, to really know my yes and my no. But there's also a piece of me that goes, wow, I created a lot of trauma for myself. A lot of drama, a lot of trauma, a lot of chaos, and a lot of relationship that I didn't even need to get into because I didn't know my yes. And it wasn't actually that I didn't know my yes, I couldn't speak it. Women across the board have trouble speaking their yes. And it's because they want to be nice. They want to be kind. That's the game that they're playing. They hold themselves responsible for whatever comes about if they say no and it's not taken well. We get bombarded as women on social media. It used to be women would talk about, like, I don't walk past a construction site, right? Because you're going to get all the cat calls and the hootings and the hollers and all that kind of stuff. And that stuff still happens, but that's now moved to a much larger spectrum because we have social media. And any woman out there, I'm sure, can attest that their inbox gets messages that we don't want. We get pictures, we get messages. It doesn't matter what our relationship label is. It doesn't matter how much we preach it and say it and post pictures of it and make comments about it. We consistently get hit by the construction site that's hooting, hollering, whistling, making unwanted attempts. And for the most of us, we probably just delete it. Block, delete, ignore. And then there is all those messages that just keeps coming in, much like the guy that walks up to you at a club, at a bar, at a restaurant, at an event, and says, hey, and then starts the inquiry, knowing that once he starts the inquiry and gets us talking, that if we say no, what's the feminine going to do? The woman is going to feel bad about saying no. The woman's going to say, oh, I don't, no, and we feel bad and we worry about how we're being perceived, and we're worried that the no is not going to be taken. So it comes across as though we don't have confidence, because we don't, typically. We don't in this situation. So what do we do? I'm going to tell you a story. Just recently, I was working with a couple, and she was at an event, and somebody asked the female of the couplehood to go out to lunch, and she's in a committed, monogamous, exclusive relationship, and she's there at this event alone, and this man asks her, would you like to go to lunch? And she says, no, my schedule's too busy. Well, that right there, why did she say that? Why wouldn't she say, thank you, but no thank you. I'm in a committed relationship. I'm happy. I'm not looking. I'm not interested. It seems like that should be easy to do, right? But it's terrifying to do. And the reason why she probably didn't do it is because she, number one, went, I don't know how to handle this. What if he pressures? Number two, not having the confidence to say no because she's probably not used to saying no to a man. So that's just an everyday experience. Men, you don't have trouble saying no. You don't want it? You don't want it. Women, we got trouble saying no. And here's the thing. This is the point I want to make to anybody who's watching who, and really this goes out to, typically heterosexual women are the ones that have the biggest issue with this, okay? And non-heterosexual women, they're a little bit more used to saying no to men because they're not interested in men, and they've learned the skills to say no. And us heterosexual women, we definitely need to learn this skill set and get very strong in it. And the best way to do this is to practice, and understand that, number one, we're not responsible for another person's emotions, how they take something, their perception. If it is a random person, if we're out there in the dating world, I deal a lot with single people that are dating and dating apps and all this kind of stuff, and women saying, well, I have this influx of men and everybody wants to be serious right away, and everybody wants this, and they're asking for sex right away, and they're asking for commitment right away. I don't even know who they are, and I don't even know if I want to be even on a date with them. And then they find themselves giving out wrong phone numbers, saying that their schedule is too busy, just ghosting the situation, because often that's the easiest way to deal with it, but then sometimes it's not, right? And the thing is that we've got to learn, number one, how to know what we want, right? Get really familiar with, like, hey, I don't have to cast this big net out here. So to all you single ladies, realize that you don't have to cast a big net. In casting a smaller net, in knowing what you want in a partner, in a relationship, you actually identify a better quality person, and you create the space for you to have a no. And then to practice that no when you get hit by all those guys, those people out there who you're not interested in. So you practice it, and you practice letting it go. Okay, and that's the big ticket item here, is that us women, we will beat ourselves up because we're like, oh man, I hope it didn't hurt his feelings. Oh, I hope it's all okay. I hope he didn't think that I was a bitch. I hope that he didn't think this. I hope, and it doesn't even matter. And it really is that we have to learn that it does not matter what somebody else thinks or how they perceive us, and we are not responsible for their emotional state. Now, bring this to the relationship. You're in relationship with somebody, and here's where women say yes a heck of a lot. Okay, we say yes, and yes, you're getting to the point here, duty sex. We say yes in sex. We say yes in adventure stuff. We say yes, about timing when we don't feel good, when we're exhausted, when we're really just not feeling connected. And we say yes because we're playing it safe. We're playing peace in this moment. We're scared of the repercussions, and therefore we say yes instead of no. Guys, realize that if your woman, whether it is that you're dating somebody, and if she says, oh no, my schedule's too busy, or maybe another time, or if the woman that you're with, she's not like really excited about it, she's not coming onto you, she's not presenting open to you, wanting to you. Instead, you know that she had a rough day, you know that she just got done putting the kids down, you know that she's got work stuff going on. She said, oh, I had a headache earlier, and or she's got some sickness going on or something like that. Wake up and realize that what you're doing it's basically interactional vandalism that you're creating with your partner, with this woman. Okay, so when you're engaging, you're actually vandalizing her. Okay, because it's this push, and this is not she needs to just get right with her yes and no, and it's not just he just needs to learn how to read her. It's the two sexes coming together and communicating. Women need to get better at saying yes and no and meaning it and being right in their yes and no, having boundaries, being able to communicate it, being able to communicate a strong no in confidence so they're not getting bullied by people in general. And gentlemen, you've got to learn that, hey, women have a tough time with this. And chances are your girl hasn't done the work. And chances are she doesn't know this about herself. And chances are she's stuck in this old paradigm of the feminine that does not feel safe saying no. So it is also your responsibility to pay attention to the environment, which means also where she's at, and understand this about the feminine, and realize that when you ask and just and then you ask again, or if she does say no and then you stonewall her or you roll away from her, you don't, a lot of the times what women will fear is abandonment. They will fear the disconnection, almost as though they are in trouble for saying no. So they don't want to lose that connection. So they'll give in to different things, especially sexually, that they're not a yes to, just because they're trying to hold the bond, the connection. They're trying to keep the relationship together, and they don't want to be basically emotionally abused and abandoned by their partner because they said no. So pay attention to what your reaction is as a partner to a woman when she says no. What is your reaction like? Because that right there will tell you what she's probably experiencing. Imagine if it was done to you. Imagine if you said no as a man and then you were shunned. And it's typically just little things, but just imagine. And if that consistently happened, and if that was happening since you were a small kid, and then society taught you that you are responsible for everybody else's emotions, especially your partner's emotions, you're responsible for the way men view you, think about you, feel about you, especially your partner, then how often are you going to give a fake no or a fake yes? How often are you going to just answer accordingly to what you believe the man wants? I believe I said in my last Land of Why that women will go along with what a man says and does as long as she knows that her voice isn't respected in the relationship. And this is the voice. It's the voice of her authentic yes and her authentic no. And if it's not being respected, if it's being shunned and abandoned in different ways, then you are going to support, you're going to enable her old program, this socialized coping mechanism that women have to just be kind, keep the peace, be nice, instead of creating and supporting a confident, powerful woman that you want by your side, that you know you can count on, that you know that you can trust her answers. Because isn't that what a man wants? A woman that he can get her yes, her no, and go, I can trust that. I can trust her because she's strong in her answer. And I know that she's unwavering. I know for us women, that's what we want from a man. We want to be able to trust. We want to know that he's right there. He's strong in who he is. And that's what it means to be strong in who you are. That what you say is who you are. So, okay, practice, practice, practice. Breeds confidence to say authentically yes or no. Practice your no's. Practice feeling, if you are couple watching this, take turns. Take like a 6-minute exercise time, giving each of you 3 minutes, where one asks an array of questions of all different topics, and the other person has to answer yes to each one of those questions, making sure that the inquirer is asking things that they know that their partner would not be a yes to. Allow yourself to feel what an authentic yes feels like, and allow yourself to feel what an authentic yes feels like. Then do the same with the no. Inquire, get that timeline spent about yes and no, inauthentic, authentic. Flip, other side, do the same thing so that you can relate, so that you can feel where your partner is at, so you can feel what your authentic yes and your authentic no is, and then start practicing it out there in the world. Because this little skill right here of saying yes or no and meaning it impacts your whole world and all relationship. Okay, guys, I have a beautiful workshop coming up tomorrow in Dallas. So if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I hope that you're signed up for it because it's sold out. And then I've got some beautiful couples workshops coming up next month, in the month of November, and in January there's going to be some amazing couples workshops coming up. So look for the details to come out on that. If you're wanting to know more about how do I call in that soulmate partner, how do I learn these skills of speaking my truth, of saying yes, saying no, how do I overcome those childhood traumas and fears that are really mucking up my today, my relationship, my love, my sex, my work? Because think about it. What are the vital key pillars of our life? There's 2. It's love and it's work. And they are interlinked like you would not believe. So if you want to know how you can really truly find harmony, peace, joy, and success in both of those areas, reach out to me. I have some beautiful fall specials running for coaching, for integration, and I would love to help you succeed in all areas of your life. As always, remember that you are worthy of a beautiful, dynamic, abundant love life and work life. I look forward to sharing with you tomorrow, episode 8 of the Land of Why series. As always, stop existing, start living, and I'll catch you tomorrow with another life.